Welcome back to the Metal Mat Podcast, and this is going to be a very interesting episode because this episode we will be talking about a rather new film that came out not too long ago. We're going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. That's going to be pretty interesting. But first of all, we're going to go ahead and do some little shout-outs. First of all, Chickies Playground, great place to be. We recently reached 600 likes, over 600 likes on Facebook, on their Facebook page, and that's just really just amazing. So thank you to everyone for liking the page, and we encourage you to join us at Chickies Playground because it's just an amazing place to be with amazing people, and it's just a great place to be. There's really nothing else I can say about it except that it's an awesome place to be. So definitely join us and come discuss things with us. We talk about all types of things. So come on and join us because we'd love to have you. And another shout out goes out to Movie Mayhem with Spanky and G. The recent one, their most recent episode they did was on a movie called Saved, which is from 2004, I think, somewhere around that. And it has Macaulay Culkin in a role, and that's kind of what intrigues me the most is the fact that he's in this because he hasn't really done a lot of films as an adult actor. He's done like Party Monster and this one and probably a few other films, but other than that, he's pretty much stayed off the radar, kind of, sort of. So I kind of want to see that. Just for the sake of it, And once again, the episode was great. That series is just very, very good, And there's an amazing duo. They have great chemistry, It's a very enjoyable episode to listen to. It was a very enjoyable show to listen to. They're very enjoyable to listen to, I can listen to them talk about movies for hours and hours. You know what I mean? Just it has that kind of effect. You know what I mean? So their show is great. Movie Mayhem is great. Definitely check them out. I'll post the link in the description. It's just amazing. It's a great show. So definitely check them out. And so now it's time for Shoot the Shuffle. At number 1. Mother by Danzig from Danzig, and this was Glenn Danzig's kind of solo band after he left Misfits, and I think he also had a band called Saman or Samhain, however you say that. And I think after all of that, this was the one that he came up with, and this one's a pretty good song. Danzig, it's kind of a goth metal band, so if you're kind of into that kind of stuff, then you might like his work. Number 2, Undertow by Tool from Undertow. This one is pretty good as well. This was Tool's first album, and it's really, really cool. Number 3, Breath of Shame by Creed from Full Circle. Now, this one I'd say is probably one of their heavier songs on there. The reunion album, which is Full Circle, it wasn't really as good as I was kind of hoping that it would be, but it's still pretty, it's kind of interesting to listen to, but it's a solid album. Number 4, All Over But the Shouting by Overkill from the Electric Age. Overkill is probably they're a really great thrash metal band, They don't really get a lot of respect that they kind of deserve to be. They're kind of overshadowed by other thrash bands like Megadeth and Metallica, Slayer, and, other bands like that. But they're really, really talented. Number 5, Death of It All by Rob Zombie from Educated Horses. This one starts out with a really cool acoustic guitar intro, but the rest of the song, it kind of lacks any real power or so. Number 6, Everything by Queensryche from Frequency Unknown. This one was okay. This was an okay album, pretty solid. Number 7, CNR by Weird Al Yankovic from Alpocalypse. This one is a decent song. It's in the style of the White Stripes. This one basically talks about Charles Nelson Riley as if he were a Chuck Norris type character. It can be funny at times. Number 8, Better Beware by Lisa Marie Presley from To Whom It May Concern. And this one I really, really like. This one's a great song off To Whom It May Concern. I've already done a podcast on Lisa. I think she's a very underrated artist, so definitely check her out. Definitely recommend her. Number 9, Scream by Michael Jackson from History, Past, Present, and Future, Book 1. This one was an interesting album, because half of it, it was like a double album. The first disc was like a greatest hits album, and the second disc was an album of brand new studio material, and it was really cool. And this one's pretty cool. It's a duet with his sister Janet Jackson, and it's a pretty cool little song. And the music video is also awesome as well. And finally, number 10, Shadow of the Valley of Death by Marilyn Manson from Hollywood in the Shadow of the Valley of Death. And this one is a really cool album. This one is very cool. I really like sort of the calm kind of ballad of it all. Hollywood would probably rank among my favorite Marilyn Manson albums. It's definitely up there. Just a really heavy album. It's almost kind of like a mix of Antichrist Superstar and Mechanical Animals. It's just a really cool album. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out, because it's just really, really good. And so that's all for Shoot the Shuffle. And now it is time for Guardians of the Galaxy. And since this is a rather new movie, I'm just going to go ahead and say spoiler alert, because this is a fairly new movie, and I don't want people to get pissed at me because I ruined the movie for them. So I'm just going to go ahead and say this podcast will contain spoilers. So if you have not seen Guardians of the Galaxy yet, do not continue any further. Go and watch it. You'll be glad you did, by the way. So go, if you haven't seen it yet, go and watch it and then come back and finish it. So just so you know, there will be spoilers. Okay, so here we go. And Guardians of the Galaxy, when I went into this film kind of thinking like, okay, this might be interesting, but it might be kind of weird, because this was really the first Marvel-related movie in which I had never heard of the main characters, And Guardians of the Galaxy is a pretty, I'm not sure if I would say obscure comic, but it's not as well known as stuff like Spider-Man and Iron Man and X-Men and stuff like that. So it could be very interesting to see what would happen. And I ended up really liking it. I really ended up enjoying it very much. And I wasn't surprised that I enjoyed it very much, because I kept hearing from pretty much everybody that this movie was amazing. It was awesome. You gotta check it out. So I wasn't really surprised that I liked it. I was really hoping that I would like it, and I ended up doing it. So it's really, really cool. So let's continue into the plot. The plot revolves around a guy named Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord. And but the thing is, nobody ever really calls him Star-Lord. They pretty much call him Quill or Peter. And it starts in 1988, and it revolves around his mother's death. And I just want to say this: his mother in this film, I swear to God, she looks like the female Cenobite from Hellraiser. Like, she really, the only thing I could think of was the female Cenobite from Hellraiser. I'm sorry, I just couldn't. I mean, that's just the way that came out to me. But anyway, he ends up getting abducted from Earth by the Ravagers, which is a group of space pirates. And 26 years pass, and he ends up stealing an orb. And this is like some type of powerful orb. And he attempts to sell the orb on the Nova Empire world, Xandar. And Gamora, who's played by Zoe Galdana, I hope I'm saying that name right. She was in Avatar and Star Trek, those type of films. And she's I'd say an assassin, really. An assassin. And they end up fighting for the orb. And these bounty hunters, Rocket Raccoon and Groot, they end up joining in on it. And they all end up fighting. And it's a very entertaining scene. And all of them end up arresting. And all four of them end up getting arrested. And Drax, who's played by Batista from WWE, and that's what really that's what really intrigued me about this film. The fact that Batista was in this film, even though I wouldn't call myself a Batista fan, I really wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of Batista when he was in WWE. I never really cared much for him. But he's actually pretty good in this film. Really, everybody is good here. I really liked Rocket Raccoon the most, Sort of this wisecracking, kind of cocky, little raccoon, But anyway, Drax attempts to kill Gamora because her association with Ronan, who killed his family. And all four of them, well, all five of them, they end up, they kind of work together, basically. It's kind of a reluctant team, but they end up escaping. They end up doing a prison break from the prison, and it's really, really cool. And Ronan ends up, he meets with Gamora's adopted father, Thanos, who I think he was seen at the very end of the Avengers in that post-credit scene. I could be wrong, but I think so. And so they end up flying to nowhere. And they end up meeting with the collector Tanlir Tiven. And I just want to say this. The way the collector is dressed in there, it really reminds me of Mugatu. And he's dressed like a fashion critic. He looks like Mugatu from Zoolander. That's really what he kept reminding me of, And Ronan arrives because Drax ends up calling him. He ends up messaging him or whatever. But Ronan ends up defeating Drax. The others end up fleeing on the ship. And the Gamora ship is destroyed. And Rocket, Drax, and Groot threaten to attack Yondu's ship. And Yondu is Star-Lord's adopted dad, alien dad, who abducted him all those years before. And Ronan ends up embedding the stone in his warhammer and ends up taking all the power. And Nebula allies with Ronan. And all of them end up, and they end up saving Star-Lord and the female. I really don't know what her name is. Gamora, I think? I really don't know. But I'm not so good with names. But anyway, they end up saving all of them. They end up kind of getting together, and they kind of devising a plan. And this one contains one of my favorite scenes in all of the movie. You know, like, Star Wars, like, I only have a 12% plan. And Rocket Raccoon's like, ha 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 ha! And Star Wars is like, that's a fake laugh. Rocket Raccoon, it's real. That's probably my favorite line in all the movie. And that's one thing I want to give this movie credit for. I really love the humor in this film. It's probably more funny than your usual Marvel film. It just has a great sense of humor, which is probably due to the writer/director James Gunn. And he's directed Slither and Super, you know, those type of films. And he also wrote the first two Scooby-Doo live-action movies. I wouldn't say those are good movies, but you can kind of tell that there's a sense of humor working in this film. And it really works to the film's advantage because it's really funny. So they end up fighting it out. And Drax and Rocket destroy Ronan's Warhammer. And all four of them and they end up uniting, and they all grab the stone, and they end up destroying Ronan. And they give the real stone to the Nova Corps. And Groot actually ends up kind of getting killed, kind of. But a mini Groot is planned, I guess. I mean, I really don't know, but whatever. And so the group is now known as Guardians of the Galaxy. They have their criminal records. You know, they're kind of cleared of everything that they've ever done. And Star-Lord ends up learning that he's actually half human, and his father was part of this unknown species. And he opens the last present he receives from his mother, because at the beginning of the film, his mother gives him like this present, but he never opened it. And it was a cassette tape filled with her favorite songs. And this is also like a sort of a running, I wouldn't say gag in the movie, but this is like a running thing in the movie where the soundtrack is from his cassette, which he explains was his mother's favorite songs, and that was how they bonded via songs. And the soundtrack is amazing. There are a lot of great, songs on there, and mainly classic ones. You know, like, I'm hooked on the feeling. You know, those type of songs. And, of course, Cherry Bomb! And that was the one that I really loved. I really loved the fact that the Runaways Cherry Bomb was in this movie. Because anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge Joan Jett fan. And the Runaways was Joan Jett's old band before she went solo. So I really loved that part. And all the characters are really great in this one. Rocket Raccoon, probably, again, my favorite. Groot, he's pretty cool as well. He only has like one line in the entire movie, and he says it over and over again. I am Groot. You know, he kind of says that over and over again, but it never really gets repetitive. You know, it's kind of in moderation. And that's the way his character is. And it's not just the same sentence over and over again. That's all he knows how to say, but Rocket Raccoon can actually understand him, and he's actually saying different things, which I really liked. I thought that was a kind of a cool twist on it. So that's pretty. And the post-credit scene. After I mentioned the post-credit scene, and Tyrion, he's sending this destroyed archive with living exhibits, and Howard the Duck is in that. And I was really surprised to see that. I was not expecting Howard the Duck, of all people, to appear. So that was rather interesting. So basically, that's the movie. You know, Guardians of the Galaxy. And overall, it's a great film. It's a really great film. You know, and at first I was kind of worried that the hype wouldn't really be worth it. That would be too much hype, but it ended up living up to the hype. I really liked it. I I mean, I would say this first and foremost. I don't watch a lot of superhero films. Like, every once in a while, I watch one. But for the most part, they're just not my cup of tea. Particularly, I watch, like, the Spider-Man films, and stuff like that. But I do need to kind of catch up on the Avengers films and stuff like that, you know. But, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy was very good. It was really, really good. The film is actually visually very beautiful, you know. So, that's pretty much it. Guardians of the Galaxy was a great, great film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Highly recommend it. A very, very good film. So that's all for the Melmac podcast. And, I'll try and be back tomorrow. I haven't been keeping a good schedule lately. Just haven't. I'm really trying to try and make the schedule work again. So I'll try and be back tomorrow at my best. Hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. But anyway, and I'll be back with a movie this time. I won't say which. I want it to be a surprise. As all future episodes will be a surprise. But this is going to be a very, very cool episode. I still love doing this show. And so I will see you all hopefully tomorrow. And then I'll see you all next time.